Hi everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use rubrics on Google Classroom. I find this to be very, very helpful. It kind of speeds up grading. And I think, with students being able to see rubrics, it will clarify some expectations for them. So I've started to work on an example assignment, and I'm going to go ahead and use this as our example for this video. So I've got my title, instructions, I've attached a document here, and I did make a copy for each student. This really allows you to give them direct access to a document without having it shared with everyone. And also, as students are working in real time, you can still access their document, kind of check their progress. You can give them feedback in real time. You can make sure they're staying on task, things like that. So that's a super helpful change to make right here, make a copy for each student. So I've also set up, my grading category and my points, and I would like to attach a rubric for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and there's this rubric option here in the corner, and I will hit rubric. And I have a few different options. I'm going to focus on create rubric or import from sheets. Those are kind of the ones that I like to do. Once a rubric is imported and it's attached to an assignment, you can reuse. So if you've got a rubric for a project that you've posted a couple of weeks ago, and you've got another project coming up that you can use the same rubric for, you can hit reuse rubric, but I'll focus on create and import for today. So you can create a rubric just directly in Google Classroom. This will give you the option to kind of build out the rubric, add different criteria that you want to be grading, add different descriptions, things like that. You also have the option of using scoring or turning scoring off. I like to assign points on the rubric. I would assume a lot of us are using scoring, but if you don't want point values added, you can turn this off and just have descriptions. So I'm going to keep mine on. And then I like to have my rubric be descending, so the top score first and then go down. And I also can change the level of points here by changing the points down here. So this will change kind of my full points on the rubric. So my first criteria and title, this is kind of what is that going to be about. So let's say my students are working on writing an essay, and the first thing that I'm going to be grading is their intro paragraph. A little description here, right? The essay should have an introduction paragraph at the beginning of the essay with contextualization and a thesis. So I'll just describe a little bit here. And I like to just give a basic description. What does an introduction paragraph mean? And then I would get more detailed in this kind of actual point value section here. So let's say that the highest points they could earn are 5. You can see my high points have automatically been recalculated here. My level title, so this matched my point level. So let's say that this is kind of an exceeds expectations level, that students have sort of gone above and beyond just that meeting the grade level expectation or the standard that they're at, and they've gone above and beyond that. So I've got my description. Maybe this is a complex introduction that draws direct connections from the contextualization to their topic, answers the prompt very clearly and concisely, things like that, right? So I've got my description here. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. And let's say my next point value could be 4, and this is just the meets expectations value. So this is where I expect really students to be. This is the grade level expectation or standard. So they've included an introduction that has contextualization that relates to the prompt and topic, and they have a thesis statement that is historically defensible, right? Let's say it's something along those lines. And that's the description of meeting those expectations. And then I can kind of go down from there. So this is approaching maybe grade level or approaching those expectations, getting close, but not quite there. I've got a description. I can do 2 points. That's well below expectations. Hopefully I did not quite spell that one right. And then I tend to give kind of a 0 and call this one unable to assess at the very bottom, just meaning students actually didn't complete this assignment. And just that's kind of what I would put here. Student did not complete the assignment. And just like it is completely missing. And I would maybe provide some extra feedback around how to do a retake or something like that. So I've built out this one criteria with my different point values. And let's say I'm also going to assess body paragraphs. So down here in this corner, just visible above my toolbar, is add criterion. So I'll add a criterion, and I can do this again for a body paragraph. The same thing here. So points, let's say the first one is 5, and then I can add my points as I go down. So once I have this all built out, I will just hit save. You can see again, my total points have been populated up here. I would hit save, and this would automatically attach to that assignment. It would also then be a rubric within Google Classroom that I could use again on an essay in the future. So that is one way to do that. But let's say, man, having to type this into Google Classroom, that just seems like a lot. I've got some rubrics built up maybe in your Google Drive. And so I can show you on another video how to get those rubrics into Sheets in a template that will automatically upload to this Google Classroom rubric. So I'm going to show you how. I'm going to just discard this one and show you, if you do have a rubric already built in Sheets, how to just add that to the assignment. So I do have some rubrics that are built in Sheets. And again, if you want to learn how to do that, I'll create another screencastify, and I'm also totally willing to share rubrics or templates that I have. This is a template that I definitely got from someone else on the internet. So I'm not claiming full, responsibility for creating this, but I've just used that template to create some rubrics. So I'm on an essay rubric here. So for me, I call essays long essay questions. And I've got that rubric already saved in Sheets. And so here's my rubric. I like to use 1-point rubrics, so that's what this one looks like. And it automatically populates all of those things that I had on my Google Sheets rubric into this Google Classroom rubric. It's got my points, it has my level title, and it has the description in here. Now let's say, well, we're not quite on analysis and reasoning yet. This is an early part of the essay, so I don't want to assess students on that. Well, then I can just delete that criterion, and now it won't be included on the student's rubric for this assignment, but it stays on my Sheets still so that I can use it in a couple of months when we are doing analysis and reasoning in our essays. So then I would just hit save, and this will then be automatically added as a rubric here on this assignment. Now you can see this rubric says 6. My total points are out of 10. Google will do the math for you, which is very helpful for me as a history teacher. Google will do the math for you and adjust the points per point or per criterion on your rubric so that it does match the points that are on your assignment. Okay. And I'll really quickly kind of show you grading a student's piece of work using a rubric. So I'm actually going to leave this assignment as a draft here so that my students don't see it. And I'll really quickly show you just some homework. These ones aren't quite completed, but I'll go ahead and show you, and I'll need to switch tabs here in just a second, how easy it is to grade a student's work. Let me switch my tabs. So I've opened up the student's work that they've turned into me. I also don't have to open it up, and I'll show you that in a second, but I like to look at their work a little bit more specifically. Clearly we're missing some work here, and I'm using a work completion rubric. You can see my criteria and points on here. So she's not going to get full points here on this one. So I'll go ahead and select whichever criteria I want, or if I've got them kind of memorized, right? I just have to click this. It automatically updates my points. And then I can hit return, and the student knows this is the point I earned and why I earned that. They can see that in the rubric. You can also, if you don't need to look at a student's work right away, you can, if you just click on the student here, you can see that they've attached a document. Maybe that's all that you need to see, and then just give them a score by clicking on the rubric. And again, you can drop down that box. So if you want to look more specifically at your categories or criterion, you can. And then you would just have to hit return, and that student would get the feedback on their assignment. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I will make another video about how to create a rubric in Google Sheets so that it connects with Google Classroom. Thanks.